All right, here we are again in Ocotillo Wells. It is almost 6 in the morning, 5:30, something like that. I know some of you guys are like, why are you in Ocotillo Wells in July? The other day it was 123 degrees here. Feels decent right now. It's a little muggy, maybe 80, 85. So we're out here because after the first episode of flight school, went through the truck, found some issues that needed to get addressed. Normally, summertime issues, you would just kind of put the truck aside and kind of just, wait till the desert season, I guess. And so, but right now, we prepped the truck. It took us about 5 weeks. We'll walk over to the truck and kind of do a walk around, show you guys all the things that we had to adjust or fix. So we'll go do that, but the reason why we're out here in Ocotillo is because we need to actually test the truck. I don't feel comfortable going across the country to the Mid-West DirtFest, which is what we're announcing now, that we're going to the Mid-West DirtFest across the country in Michigan to go visit the pre-runner guys out there. It's gonna be awesome. It's been a couple years now. I've been checking out the Mid-West DirtFest on Instagram and on YouTube and stuff, and with Terra Crew and everything. And I think it's gonna be awesome being able to get out there. Kind of made the decision a few months ago to do it. It's always kind of hit or miss whether or not the truck's gonna be in running order for the Mid-West DirtFest. And this year it happens to be the last 2 summers, it's been absolutely in pieces. So the fact that we were able to get the truck together for this Mid-West DirtFest is pretty awesome. The last few years I wouldn't have been able to do it. The truck's been absolutely torn down. So we were able to get it together. You can come over here and we'll take a little walk around of the truck. So first thing we noticed on the truck was, and I've been noticing it for a while, is the headers were basically coming apart. It's just, there was a lot of rattling going on down there. The slip joints were welded. There was no expansion chambers between the headers and the exhaust. And so everything was hard mounted, and it was just, there was nothing to give, and everything just started cracking. We've done some spot welds and fixed the cracks to the extent that we could, and we decided that it was probably best to just get some new headers with slip joints and baffles or expansion chambers to the exhaust to give it a little bit of wiggle room. So all new headers all the way down. Fixed a pretty decent crack in the X pipe. So that's the exhaust system. It sounds amazing. You might hear it a little later when we go testing. Try to get a mic in the truck and see if we can get some different truck sounds from before, because there was always an exhaust leak somewhere. And now I think we've rectified that issue. We might have a little bit more lower end torque. Not sure yet, but got to get it out on some comfortable trails out here in Ocotillo and see if there actually is a little bit more grunt out of it. The other thing is the shocks were blown out, the rears were like 2 years since they had been rebuilt. The fronts were 1 year, so the fronts were still a little fresher. The rears were a little blown out. One thing we did notice is that I don't check my nitrogen on the bumps too often. This time we went ahead and checked, and it's just been a long time since I checked, and they were at 150 PSI, so that's pretty low actually for bump stops. We boosted those back up to actually 250, so we need a little better bump zone. I'm smashing my rear fenders, and so we just need a little better support on the bump zone on some of these jumps. So shocks got fully rebuilt. We noticed that the power steering pump had some play in it. So we took the power steering pump off, sent it off to Power Steering Solutions for a rebuild, and now it seems pretty smooth. We got it back on there, and the steering feels great. Again, high speeds will be the test on the steering, so we'll come out here and get some high speeds. We drove around the road for a little bit, but it's hard to know. So One of the other things we did was the old heat shielding in the tunnel down below the headers in the truck. We got in touch with ORW and they sent us some heat shield products material that we ended up reheat shielding the tunnel in there. The heat shield products had been in there for a year or maybe a little more than a year, and it was time to replace that. So we went ahead and we figured if we have it all out, we might as well just recoat everything in that. So it's looking great. Went over the chassis, found some cracks propagating in the tire carrier and up in the motor mount area. So those got welded up and fixed and gusseted in the areas where we felt there was gussets required. We tried to address the rack adapter situation, and we feel like there's just a little bit too much work to get that adjusted. We made a toe adjustment. We're gonna take some frontal video today, actually. We'll take some frontal video today, and we're gonna see how much toe we have at full droop. We did pull, I had some shock spacers in the front that were about 1.5-inch-ish, and we pulled those out, and we're trying to get a little bit more fall out of the front end of the truck. We just gotta make sure that it doesn't fall too far, and we have some sort of clunking topping out like a uniball or something like that. So we're gonna mess with it. We went from 18-inch straps to 20-inch straps. That reminds me, I didn't bring my 18-inch straps just in case the 20s don't work. So that was a bad move on my part. So plan ahead. But we're gonna see if we can get a little more travel out of the front end here on this thing. And the rear is set up the same, but the shocks are obviously rebuilt. And interior wise, we did, I don't think we did too much in the interior. The interior is just the way it is. And I think that's pretty much it. Trying to think of anything else for this update, but the truck felt great yesterday on the road test. Glad we came out here to Ocotillo and we gave a few hours of testing in here, and you guys can watch some of that video.